Let's see. Lee McCarthy says, Tomi Lahren was suspended for a week from the Blaze for her unconservative libertarian views about abortion. What do you think of her comments themselves? And A, what do you think of the comments themselves? And B, what are your thoughts on her being suspended? I didn't hear the comments. I got a pretty good idea of what the comments are. I think it's raw cowardice, and I think it's shameful, and I think Glenn Beck should know better than that. We took a lot of heat as a company, and me individually, during all of 2016, because one of my close friends and associates, who I've been a close friend and associate with for many, many years, had a opposing viewpoint about a presidential candidate, and I was basically told by large numbers of members, when I say large numbers, I mean scores of them, that if I'm going to keep Scott out on right angle and he's going to be dissing Trump all the time, I'm just going to cancel my membership. And my response was, well, I'm sorry to hear that, but here's your money back. It's not just a question of personal ethics, not just a question of the fact that this is a friend of mine, and he's one of the best men I know. He is one of the best men I know. He may be the best man I know. But even if he were a complete lout, just an absolute mean-spirited, low-down slob, wife-beating piece of crap, when we're talking about firing people because they disagree on a point or two, it's not the same as, you can't expect a conservative news agency to hire a liberal and that, but this idea that we disagree on one thing, therefore here comes the ruler to smack you on the knuckles. I think it's appalling. And I've said this before, I've said most things before after 149 episodes, but the only thing in this line of work that makes me want to hang up my spurs instantly, just, that's it, I'm done, I'm out of here, I'm done. The one thing that will get me like that every single time is when I hear somebody say or write me an email saying, Bill, I've been following you for 7 years, but your position on X is just simply unacceptable. You're dead to me. I'm never listening to you again. I want my money back, and so on and so forth. That isn't. It's not the membership thing. It's not even that. Forget the membership thing. It comes from people sometimes who aren't members. When somebody says, I've agreed with you on 99.9% of everything you've ever said, but I disagree with you on this thing, so therefore you're dead to me. It just makes me want to just hang up the hat and go home. What do you expect? Honestly, what do you expect? Do you expect that I'm going to agree with you on every single issue of all time? Because if you do, then that means other people are going to be angry at me, because not everybody agrees on everything. The whole purpose of our side of the aisle is supposed to be that we have a philosophy and we have a theory, and that theory holds and makes sense, and the philosophy holds and makes sense. And if we have spirited debate about it, that is what it's all about. So I think it was a gigantic mistake. I don't care what she said. I think it was a gigantic mistake. And by the way, since I'm going here, Nair says that she was suspended. She's very rude to her guests and so on. That may be true. But this idea that, we have to agree on every single thing is just nuts, because when you get right down to it, every single person is a political party of one. There's no two people in this country that agree on every single thing together. They're going to disagree on something. And when people are so blinkered, and so wound up that you've committed an act of heresy against not against the established religion. You've just committed an act of heresy against my personal, utterly unique belief system. Therefore, out to behind the corn with you. We're going to send you out to the cornfield. Okay, there's nothing I could do about that. But I disagreed with Scott on a lot of things, and sometimes it was painful how much I disagreed with him. But the idea of not forget firing him. He said to me many times, he said, I suppose maybe I should just tone it down. I said, don't you dare tone it down. You've always spoken the truth. I want you to speak the truth now. You tell us what you feel, and that's why we have this show, and if people don't like it, they can piss off. And I'm really pretty much serious. So that's it. That's how things work around here in this particular shop. It's how they should work on this side of the aisle. I would expect that kind of thing if somebody from MSNBC got offline and made a comment that was anti-abortion. I'd expect that they'd be fired. But to hear that somebody had a libertarian view of abortion and therefore is suspended for a week, it's not. That's not America. That's not freedom. It's not free speech. I don't know how you can be a defender of free speech, and you know, and be in favor of punishing somebody who spoke her mind. Which reminds me, since I'm dancing out in minefield territory, I don't think I've had a chance to talk about this. Milo Yiannopoulos is an interesting character, to say the least, and Milo Yiannopoulos has done an awful lot of things that deserve... Let's just say that Milo is helping himself to become disliked by a lot of people, and it doesn't seem to faze him any. And there's an awful lot about Milo that I do not like, and most of it is, I don't think he really gets the whole philosophy thing. I think he's mostly into the personal publicity. But with all of that said, what happened to Milo is disgraceful. And it's not disgraceful because somebody has a right to advance pedophilia. I do think that's across the line. You have a right to say it, but I'm not going to hire somebody that it's one thing to have an opinion about Donald Trump, it's another thing to be in favor of that. But the reason I bring him up now is because Milo was accused of being a pedophile or coming out in defense of pedophilia. And I listened to the tape and I read the transcript 3 or 4 times. Not only did he not do that, he pretty much did the exact opposite. And if you're going to run somebody through with a saber or a cutlass, is what I probably should have said, then at least run them through for the right reasons, right? When Milo was crucified over something that he didn't say or mean, wasn't like he misspoke himself. He was crystal clear about it. He said, I was something about he had a sexual relationship when he was younger, and basically what he said was some people mature sexually faster than other people, and if that is categorically true. The age of consent in Africa and some countries is 9, and someplace else it's 21, 22. So that's all he said, basically. And I am appalled that that kind of a lie could spread because people like me, I don't mind being held responsible for the things that I say. But I do not, and I will not be held responsible for things that I didn't say. And I certainly will not be held responsible for things that are the opposite of what I actually said. And that whole thing with him was very, very shameful. Very shameful. I looked at the transcript, unless I'm missing something, unless there was part of it that I didn't hear, and I looked at all of it. I didn't see anything at all other than the fact this is Milo. We all know that Milo's pretty weird and has suffered a lot of very strange things in his life and is looking for attention, all the rest of that stuff. But he never called for this. And I don't, it offends me, it offends my sense of justice that he was pilloried for something he didn't say. So there.